here's something that I would like to share with you, which I think I had a bit of an epiphany over the weekend listening to Bernie. And by the way, if you're going to be in Clinton County, Iowa, I know there are some people driving over there from Chicago, from all over the place. But on May 17th, in Goose Lake, Iowa, and you can read this over at bernie.org. It's on his homepage there, bernie.org. He's going to be this coming Saturday. He's going to be the keynote speaker, and it's a fundraiser for the local Democratic Party. Should be a lot of fun. But anyhow, Bernie and I were in Massachusetts last weekend, and he gave this talk, and he quoted some statistics from Monmouth University. This is a poll that was published on September 5th of last year. And this is where it gets very, very strange. 17% of Americans believe that the House of Representatives is run by the Democratic Party, which it is not. It's run by the Republicans. But 17% think it is. And only 49% know that the House is actually run by the Republican Party. In other words, fewer than half. 34% have no idea. So basically, 51% of Americans don't know or are wrong about who runs the House, the majority. And when it comes to the Senate, it's even worse. It's about 65% of Americans don't know who runs the Senate. Now, this has led to what I call the Republican chaos strategy. And here's how it works. It's real straightforward. First of all, if most Americans don't know who who controls the House and don't know who controls the Senate, in fact, actually, let me just dig a little deeper here before I get into this. The majority of Americans don't know that the Republicans run the House. They don't know that the Democrats run the Senate. An even larger percentage of Americans, just common sense would tell you, don't know that even though the Democrats control the Senate, that because they don't have 60 votes and there's this thing called the filibuster, the Republicans actually are able to block anything in the Senate. So because the majority of Americans don't know this, they look at our political system and they say, it's all screwed up, it's gridlock, it must be everybody's fault, to hell with them all, throw the bums out. This is why Congress's approval ratings are so low. That's part one. Part two, this wasn't in the Monmouth University poll, I don't believe, but common sense would indicate that the vast majority of Americans, probably 90%, certainly the vast majority of voters, know that President Obama is the president, Barack Hussein Obama is the president, and that he's a Democrat. So most people don't know who runs Congress, but they do know who runs the White House. So if the country's doing well, then the party in the White House is going to get props for that, right? They're going to get praise for that. They're going to get, people are going to be very happy about that. On the other hand, if things are not going well, if things are going poorly, then the party in the White House is going to get penalized for that, you would think, right? I mean, just common sense tells you this. So this is the Republican strategy, and it's been the Republican strategy since Pete Sessions and Jeb Hensarling and the whole crew of them. Actually, I have the list here someplace. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, since all of these guys got together, for the Caucus House, oh yeah, here it is. For the Caucus House conspiracy, which we talked about last week. No, I don't have the list. Where these Republicans got together the night that the inauguration was happening, and they said, basically, let's bring down the White House. Let's turn President Obama into a one-term president. Let's just do everything we can to destroy his presidency. And they were successful at doing it so far. I mean, they have been to a large extent. I mean, this is what they've been all about. I thought I had it, but I don't. C'est la vie. Anyway, so the Republican chaos theory is this: hurt the American people, explicitly hurt the American people. Take long-term unemployment benefits away from 2 million people. Cut food stamp benefits. Cut housing assistance. Cut programs that help people get jobs. Block legislation that removes the tax incentives to move jobs overseas. Block legislation that puts in tax incentives for companies to move jobs back home. Do everything you can to make the American economy suck. Give huge tax breaks to billionaires, multimillionaires. Keep in place things like the carried interest, all this stuff that is helping the billionaires. And don't do anything for the average person. Constantly talk about how Social Security is going broke even though it's not, how Medicare is in trouble even though it's not. Just scare the hell out of people. This is the Republican strategy. Not just scare the hell out of people. Hurt people. Don't help people when their mortgages are underwater. Help the banks, not the people. Screw the people. 2 TARPs under George Bush. And a stimulus. They were actually trying to do something, but he was a Republican president. Democrat comes in, they let him get one stimulus through. That was when, that little brief window there where the Democrats controlled the Senate and there was no veto because Scott Brown hadn't been sworn in yet. As soon as Scott Brown got in after Ted Kennedy died, boom. The Republicans started blocking everything. So block everything and then blame it on the Democrats and the president. When Republicans come on this program or call into this program and say, oh, but, unemployment is really 20%, or, oh, the economy really sucks or stinks, or, oh, it's terrible. There's no good, the good jobs have gone over. They're bragging because they know that the majority of Americans don't even know that the Republicans control Congress. The majority of voters don't even know that the Republicans control Congress, but they do know there's a Democrat in the White House, and there's an election coming up. So they're going to go into the polling places in 2014, in November, the fall of this year, a couple of months from now. They're going to go to the polling places, and they're going to look at the ballot, and they're going to say, let's see, things really suck, and we got a Democrat who's president. I guess I'll vote for the Republicans. That's the Republican strategy.